Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Who should Man United sell in the summer? And who should Man United sign? Now, I think we should sell Juan Mata in the summer. Juan Mata doesn't get in our team now. And his current contract expires in the summer. There is an option to trigger his contract for a further year. Earlier on this season, Juan Mata rejected an 18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. Mata's in his 30s and he has now lost that yard of pace. But I think he's had a good career at Man United. He's been at the club over 6 years. He's made over 200 appearances in all competitions and he's scored 50 goals. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea. Solskjaer said earlier on this season he's not surprised that Juan Mata's been linked to a move away from the club. Mata's actually out with injury at the moment. Martial. I think we should sell Martial in the summer because for the vast majority of this season, Martial has been out of form. He's had chances but he hasn't converted them. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer backed him to rediscover his form and he said he's been impressed with Anthony Martial's work rate. But to Martial's credit, he's done well in his last 2 games. He recently sustained a hip injury and I think he's had the scan on his hip. Just recently come back from injury. Martial was good last season and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Martial has been at the club over 5 years. I think it was last season Solskjaer gave him that number 9 shirt. If we had to sell Martial in the summer, I reckon we'd get around £30 million. He doesn't have a long-term future at Man United. I think we should sell Matic in the summer because Matic isn't one of our first choice midfielders, but he still gets his chances and he can do well in some games, but in the vast majority of the games he's played in at Man United he's been inconsistent and I've always had my strong reservations about him because he's always been a slow player and he's in his 30s now. We got Matic in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Phil Jones, I think we should also sell him in the summer because Phil Jones doesn't get in our team. He's always been inconsistent. This is Phil Jones' 10th season at Manchester United, so he has been a long servant. He's the only outfield player that's still here from the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Jones has been out with injury for over a year. Sergio Romero, I think we should also offload him because I think he's now our 3rd choice goalkeeper. David De Gea. Now I think we should sell him in the summer. Recent narratives have said that we are willing to listen to offers for De Gea so we can make Dean Henderson our 1st choice goalkeeper. Now, we have been looking at a few goalkeepers who could possibly replace De Gea. We've been looking at Pope from Burnley. We've looked at Donnarumma from AC Milan. We've looked at Mick Maignan from Lille. We've also looked at Jan Oblak from Atletico Madrid. Jan Oblak has a £103 million release clause in his Atletico Madrid contract, but I don't think we need a new goalkeeper. I think we value De Gea at £50 million. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer warned De Gea that his number 1 jersey was under threat. But Solskjaer's come out and claimed that De Gea will be back in the starting lineup because De Gea is now back. He's missed our last 3 games due to personal reasons. This is De Gea's 10th season at Manchester United, so he has been a long servant. He's made over 500 appearances for the club in all competitions. A few years ago, he was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world, but in the last couple of years, he's made calamitous mistakes, so reflecting on that, he has become a liability. I think there's a good chance De Gea will go back to Spain. Main explanations is because he was born in Spain, his relatives are from Spain, his girlfriend's from Spain, and he began his footballing career in Spain. And back in 2015, he was close to joining Real Madrid, but due to a fax machine, the deal never materialised. De Gea has 2 years left on his current contract and he's on £375,000 a week. But Solskjaer has been facing a goalkeeping dilemma. But I think Dean Henderson is now reliable enough to become our number one because he's done well in the games he's played in this season and he has got that experience behind him. Victor Lindelof, I think we should sell him in the summer because I don't think he's good enough to represent Man United. In the vast majority of Victor Lindelof's games, he has been inconsistent. And Lindelof and Harry Maguire don't complement each other in our back line. But he can have some good games sometimes. Lindelof's been at the club now a few years. We got him in a deal worth £31 million from Benfica back in 2017. So they are the players I think Man United should sell. Now, there's a good chance that Edinson Cavani will leave Man United in the summer. But I don't want Edinson Cavani to leave in the summer. I'd like him to stay for next season because he has made a fantastic impact since he's come in. Cavani's scored goals, he's created chances, his hold-up play is good, and his movement in and out of the box is good. Cavani's obviously not available at the moment due to injury. But Solskjaer has come out and said that Edinson Cavani is closer to Boca Juniors than staying at Manchester United. Prior to that, he said his future has not been decided. Edinson Cavani's father has said that Edinson Cavani is unhappy at the club and he's not comfortable in England and wants to leave. Reports from Argentina recently said that Cavani's decided to leave Man United after just a season. He's rejected the contract extension. He wants to join Boca Juniors on a 3-year contract and he's willing to take a pay cut. But earlier on this season, Cavani wanted to stay at Man United beyond this season. Solskjaer said he was set for contract extension talks. Now, Paul Pogba, there's a chance he will leave Man United in the summer. I think we should keep Paul Pogba, potentially past the summer. I don't know if he's got a long-term future at Man United, but before Paul Pogba got this thigh injury, we was getting the best out of him. The last game Paul Pogba played was the 3-3 draw with Everton. But he has been a big miss because we lack creativity in that midfield without him. And we are too defensive. Earlier on this season, Pogba had an ankle injury and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. So he's sustained a few injuries now at Man United. There was narratives coming out a few weeks ago saying that Paul Pogba's open to staying at Man United after making a transfer U-turn and he's willing to discuss a new contract. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer suggested Paul Pogba could sign a new contract because he said he's happy at the club. Earlier on this season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. Mini Oriola, he's desperate to get his client out of the football club. Mini Oriola said earlier on this season, though, that he's got no intentions of destabilising his client's season at Man United, and he did make an admission saying that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence because Mini Oriola's been criticised a lot and he doesn't have a good relationship with Man United. He made an announcement back in December regarding Paul Pogba, and Solskjaer was furious with Mini Oriola's announcement. Pogba's our most expensive signing at the moment. We paid £89 million for him. But he's had a long-running transfer saga. You know, he's been relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid. PSG have been in for him. His former club Juventus have been in for him. Pogba enjoyed 4 very good years with Juventus before he rejoined Manchester United. He said a few weeks ago we revealed our asking price and it was £100 million. Now anyway, let's get into the incoming. So we have had a lot of players on our agenda. I obviously give you the news yesterday on Pau Torres and Jules Koundé. So according to ESPN, Pau Torres has emerged as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's top target. And we have been in contact with Villarreal over Pau Torres. And he says we can get him for less than his £56 million release clause if Villarreal fail to qualify for Europe. Now, Pau Torres, I don't know if we should sign him because I don't really know much about him, but he has been at Villarreal for like 19 years. He was in their youth setup for a long time. He's got a contract with Villarreal until 2024. Do you think he'd go well alongside Maguire in our back line? I think we should sign Jules Koundé because I think Jules Koundé is very, very good. And he would go well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. Jules Koundé's teammate Diego Carlos has said that Jules Koundé is ready for a big club. Diego Carlos spoke highly about Jules Koundé. Now, there was narratives coming out earlier on this season saying that we was unwilling to meet Jules Koundé's £68 million release clause. But he says we was prepared to pay around £61 million. The Spanish outlet La Razón said earlier on this season we was considered the favourites to sign Jules Koundé. Sevilla paid £22 million for him from Bordeaux in the summer of 2019. He's got a contract with Sevilla until 2024. I'd certainly take Raphael Varane at Manchester United. There's been a lot of narratives coming out regarding him. The recent narrative said that Raphael Varane could now be set to stay at Real Madrid. But it's also saying Real Madrid are prepared to sell Raphael Varane on one condition. He must inform Real Madrid on his decision to leave. It actually said from the AS that he's decided that he wants to come to the Premier League in the summer. Last month, the AS said that talks over a new contract have not settled for Raphael Varane. But a few clubs have been in for him. You know, Raphael Varane is a world-class centre-half. He's highly experienced. He's 27 years of age. And he's been at Real Madrid for 10 years now, so he's been a long-serving player. He's made over 300 appearances and he's won 18 major honours. Now, Erling Haaland I can assure I would take him at Manchester United. It would be good to see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer reunite with the player. Solskjaer knows the player well because Solskjaer was the one that gave Erling Haaland his debut at just the age of 16 at Molde. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer said he was following Erling Haaland's progress, and he said he's keeping in touch with Erling Haaland. Back in December 2019, Solskjaer and Woodward went to Norway to meet up with Erling Haaland to negotiate a possible move to Man United. But there has been a lot of clubs in for him. His agent Minio Raiola, I think, said earlier on this season that there was only 6 clubs in England that could afford Erling Haaland. Since his arrival at Dortmund, he's been an absolute revelation. He's been at Dortmund over a year. Dortmund paid just £17 million for him, and he's got a contract with Dortmund until 2024. Apparently, he's our number one transfer priority. I'd certainly take Jadon Sancho at Man United. Declan Rice, he's another player I'd take at the club because Declan Rice breaks up play well. Yeah, he's predominantly a holding midfielder, but he can be deployed as a centre-half. Declan Rice is still young. He's got a lot of development in him. Plus, he's well Premier League proven. So, there you go. But this year's summer transfer window is the biggest in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial career because we do need to make signings. I'm expecting us to make around 3 or 4 signings in the summer. By the way, I think our transfer budget is £80 million. I think Solskjaer's hoping to sell at least 4 players to boost our transfer budget. He hopes to raise as much as £60 million. Solskjaer is set to have his final say on our transfer incoming deals. Man United are set for a transfer summit next week. Solskjaer will sit down with the new chefs to discuss our transfer targets. I'm expecting Solskjaer to get the backing he deserves in the summer because obviously we've got a director of footballing. It's John Murtough. He's our first ever director of football. And I said, we need a director of football because it's one of the structural changes that we need at the club. We was in for a director of football for a while. And John Murtough, he knows the club inside out because he's been at Man United for 7 years. And plus Darren Fletcher is now the technical director. I think the transfer windows Solskjaer's endured so far, he hasn't been backed enough. And so far has endured 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. And Woodward's come out several times to show his support for Ole. He said towards the end of last year he will back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. And even when we was enjoying them really bad periods under Ole, Woodward assured that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job was safe. Our board have got a soft stance on Ole with him being a club legend. Disregarding him being a club legend, during them bad periods, the board I think could have been a lot more ruthless on him. But yeah, we've criticised the board for a long time because the board has been one of the biggest problems at the club for a while, reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. The managers that we've had haven't got the players that they wanted to recommend in, and plus we've overpaid for players. Woodward recently did a statement saying that the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. So in that aspect, the board are backing Ole. Now, like I updated you on my last video, Solskjaer has agreed to sign a new contract worth £9 million a year. Sources at Old Trafford say talks are set to begin any day over the new deal, because later on this month, Solskjaer will be into the final year of his 3-year contract. Looking at it, I think Solskjaer does deserve a new contract reflecting on the progress he's made. But earlier on this season, it actually said Solskjaer's future was in doubt because he admitted that nobody had spoke to him over a new contract. And he actually said we'd wait until the end of the season to begin contract talks with Solskjaer. Like I've said in regards to Solskjaer, I don't think he's a long-term manager for Man United, but I think he does deserve at least another season at the football club. This is his second full season at the moment. Now, if we finish second this season and we win a trophy, I'll turn around and say that represents a good season for Man United. That gives us something to build on going on into next season. Solskjaer must win a trophy at Manchester United to avoid the sack. Because he's not yet won a trophy as Man United manager, and he's been Man United manager over 2 years. And we haven't won a trophy since 2017. And a club of our stature need to be winning trophies. I've told you my two big concerns about Ole is his decision making, because in the vast majority of the games he's managed at Man United, he's been tactically naive, especially in the big games. But there's been some games where he's showed tactical flexibility, but for me, he doesn't show tactical flexibility enough. He's got to show tactical flexibility persistently. And the other element of concern about him, he hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager. But reflecting now on he's been at Man United, he has gained some managerial experience and he has learnt quite a bit on the job. To be honest with you, I don't see us winning the Premier League title under Solskjaer. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013, so we haven't won it now for like 8 years. At one point, though, we was in the title race. At one point, we was top. But obviously, there was a period where we dropped too many points, so we're no longer in the title race. Top 4 is our aim, and I can almost assure we will finish in the top 4. It would be a disaster if we finished out of the top 4. If we finished out of the top 4 this season, I'd turn around and say Solskjaer definitely deserves to be sacked. Did we give Solskjaer the job too soon? The main explanation we gave him the job permanently 2 years ago was reflecting on what he did as the interim manager, because he won 14 games out of 19 in all competitions. But like I've said on my recent videos, we've got to credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in quite a few aspects. We're second in the Premier League, and no one expected us to be there with how poor we was at the first part of this season. We've enjoyed good periods under Ole where we've seen consistency, and enjoying some of them good periods. He's got the best out of the team. He's improved certain players. We've got a fantastic away record in the Premier League. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. Solskjaer's got us to the FA Cup quarter-finals, got us to the Europa League last 16, got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season, lost 2-0 to City. Did well last season in his first full season at the club. guided us to 3 semi-finals, got us a 3rd place finish, got us qualification for the Champions League. Plus, we went on a 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions last season. We was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League. And like I said, Solskjaer has made some good signings. He spent almost 300 million at the club. And I also like the way he has promoted the youth, because he's given a lot of young players their chances and he's brought more young players into the club. And he's got rid of a lot of players since he got recommended in. I think Solskjaer has now managed over 100 games as Man United manager in all competitions. But yeah, like I said, I think it's pointless sacking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because 1, there's no one available at the moment to replace him, and 2, not all the blame stems from him when we are inconsistent. In some aspects, though, the blame stems from him. You know, in the last 8 years, we've been playing catch-up. We've made mistakes, though, in the last 8 years. That's one of the main explanations why we haven't been as consistent as we'd like to have been. You know, we've sacked 3 managers since Ferguson retired. We sacked David Moyes. He's the worst manager we've ever had. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after, 2.5 years, despite him winning 3 trophies in his first season. And Mourinho got 2nd in his first season. So Mourinho enjoyed 1 good season with Man United. And you saw my video I did not so long ago. Was it the other week I did it? I said Solskjaer is the new Van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. Obviously, with the brand of football we're seeing, it's boring football in a lot of games. And under Mourinho, it was part of the bus football, especially in the big games. I hated the way Jose Mourinho approached the big games as Man United manager. And under Louis van Gaal, the football was just turgid and it was just very, very boring, you know. But these times, where we can play good football. But you can definitely identify the weaknesses in the squad. But these good players at Manchester United, there's players that have really, really improved. Dean Henderson's done well in the games he's played in this season. You've got Luke Shaw, that's been our player of the season by far. You've got Eric Bailly, that's done well in the games he's played in this season. Man United are in talks with Eric Bailly over a new contract, don't forget. And Wan-Bissaka's done well in some games this season. Fred's improving, McTominay's flourishing. He can have some bad games, McTominay, but I think he's still a decent player. Not at that level as I want him to be as yet. Pogba did well before he got this thigh injury. Bruno Fernandes has come in and made the difference in the team. Greenwood's done well since he broke into the first team squad. Rashford's good. Cavani's done well since he's come in. So yeah, these good players. But yeah, there's players at Man United now that don't even get in the 11. Brandon Williams hardly plays. Tuanzebe doesn't get in the 11. Jones doesn't get in the 11. Mata doesn't get in our 11. Neither does Romero. So there is a few. And Amad Diallo Traore, he looks a very good asset for the first team. Amad Diallo Traore recently scored his first goal for the football club in our 1-1 draw with AC Milan. It was a very, very good header as well, and it was a lovely through ball from Bruno Fernandes. Could Amad Diallo Traore be making his full debut tonight against West Ham? I hope so. We got Amad Diallo Traore in a deal worth £37 million. But yeah, Man United are facing an injury crisis, so reflecting on that, our season is back on thin ice and Solskjaer's on thin ice. There's 7 players we've got injured. That's Rashford, Martial, Donny van de Beek, Cavani, Pogba, Mata and Phil Jones. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.